I had an installation done with Aire Serv in 2019, and I'm still having issues with my home in 2021. There were multiple issues that arose. I gave them many opportunities to fix it, and I can tell you, I would never recommend them to anyone. We got several quotes for a new HVAC system in our home. And we were of course trying to find the best price for the best product. So we had representative come out. I'm pretty sure his name was Justin from Aire Serv. Turned out he was the younger guy. I didn't feel real comfortable with some of his answers, but he ended up giving us the best price, and they told us they'd give us the best warranty. They told us they'd give us a 1-year warranty and a 10-year parts and labor warranty on the system, which was unheard of for the labor to be covered. We knew it was a 10-year system warranty if you bought the system. But we paid for the work because they gave us the best price. We gave other reputable companies an opportunity to try and beat it, but they couldn't. So we decided to go with them. So a couple weeks later, they came in to start the work. They sent one individual at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I was a little confused as to why one person showed up. Well, he told me somebody else would be here soon, so he went out. He was outside. He just tore my unit out that was outside, and I was still concerned. This one guy was working alone, and they told me the job would take a day. Well, another person showed up about an hour later, and the first individual that was there kept getting on his phone and walking away, and the other young man that was here was trying to work alone. So he just continued to walk away till eventually I went outside and they were both gone. And I was like, where did they go? And they about an hour later came back. I said, I figured they went to lunch. About an hour later, they came back, and they were telling me that they were going to get more help, but everybody else was on other jobs. So I said, okay, still really not feeling good about it. So they went in the attic, and they started taking things apart, and it's getting a little bit later in the day. And so I'm still concerned, and another guy finally shows up about 2 o'clock, and he starts helping them take stuff out. They finally started bringing stuff up into the attic, and the guys were complaining about how hot it was. Well, the first guy just left. He just left, and I asked the guys, "What happened? What happened with him?" Oh, well, he's having problems with his girlfriend, so he's not coming back. So we're gonna try and do this. I said, well, the third guy that showed up ended up being one of two. I said, so how long you been doing this? He goes, I don't even do air conditioners. I'm just here for labor. I don't even know. I'm just here to carry stuff. And I was like, okay. So I'm calling Justin back and calling him. And he goes, I'm going to come out. I'm going to send more guys. And I'm like, okay. So he does eventually come out around 5 o'clock. And they're up. And it's 5 o'clock. They told me it's going to take a day. They started at 8. It's 5. We haven't had air all day long. So my wife works at night. So she's supposed to be asleep at this point. She can't go to sleep. So they finally get it to the point where it's actually blowing out some air at 8 p.m. And they said, well, we'll come back tomorrow and we'll finish. I says, well, all right, man, as long as you got some air blowing. He said, all right, okay. So the next day he comes back, and it's 2 of them again, and they're up there working all day long. They're putting in duct work. They're doing all the stuff they're supposed to do. So they leave about 5 that day, and they said, we're good. Everything's all right. And so we also in the process, I forgot to tell you, they ripped out the coil, the line, the refrigerant line that goes through the wall, and they ran a new one outside down the outside of the house, and they didn't tell us they were going to do that. And my wife was like, cosmetically, she didn't like it. She was like, you guys didn't even tell us you're going to do that. He was like, oh yeah, it's standard practice. And she was like, but if it was so standard, why didn't you tell us up front? I would never have agreed to replace that line if you were going to do something like that. That looks horrible. So they agreed to put a cover on it and to cover it up, a vinyl cover that kind of matched the house. So my wife was satisfied with that. So and I keep calling him Justin. It's not Justin. His name's Taylor. His name is Taylor. It's Taylor. I knew it was probably wrong, but it's Taylor I've been dealing with this whole time. And so about 3 days later, the house is hot. I'm like, what's going on? So they come back out, and all the freon has leaked out the system where they haven't put it together correctly. So they have to come out and find out where the leak is, and they have to refill it with refrigerant. We're like, oh, it's kind of bad. Anyway, they came in and they fixed that. And about 2 weeks later, we start seeing water leaking, really leaking, in the hall downstairs through the ceiling to where we had to get a bucket. And I'm like, what's going on? You know, this is not a roof above us, it's a floor above us. We go upstairs and it has leaked from the above the air conditioners. Somehow water's leaking out of the air conditioner. It leaked out into the ceiling above the bathtub of the upstairs bathroom. And then it leaked through that floor into the downstairs hallway. And so we have to put a bowl out to capture this. So we call them back up and they say, oh, well, yeah, there was a little issue here, but it always happens. It's just too humid and this and that. And we're like, that doesn't make sense. We'll send somebody out to fix your ceiling. So they sent a guy out and he goes, yeah, I'll fix it. And a week later he shows up to fix it and he spray paints it basically. Spray paints. This doesn't need to be fixed. It doesn't need to be taken out. We just paint over it. It'll be fine. So I called my air conditioning guy who gave me a quote, Refrigeration Unlimited. I've been dealing with him for 15 years and he just didn't give me a better price. I called him out. I said, hey, can you look at this unit? I'm sorry. It's leaking. We don't know what's going on. We've had the guys out here several times. They just can't fix it. So he goes up, he finds that where the plenum meets the air conditioner, the furnace upstairs is not balanced. They're actually in like a V like this. So it needs to be braced. And he says, I don't even know if I can do that. There's no room to work. So he gets up and he figures out a way. He does it. He braces it. He brings it back to level so that it won't leak anymore. And then he seals it because it wasn't sealed. So he seals it. And then he tells me, he goes, you need an attic fan up here. He said, that'll help, so the unit won't work so hard. If you put he says, I can do it for you. It'd just be too expensive. You can do it. It's kind of a home DIY thing. Put an attic fan up. I said, okay, no problem. So I put the attic fan up. And he did his repair and hasn't had a problem since. The bathroom ceiling has since become an issue. So now we have to actually get that fixed correctly because it wasn't done right. And I have put my guy from Refrigeration Unlimited on a yearly rotation to check the unit because I don't trust these guys at Aire Serv. So I'm actually paying to have the unit inspected and serviced every year. Somebody else. So that's where I am now.